Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to a new episode of He Said, a look at the world from a seasoned Black man's perspective. I'm Alvin King. It is Friday, April the 26th. Can you all believe that we are at the end of April already? Yes. I know this week it hasn't felt like it because some days it felt like winter, some days it felt like spring, some days it felt like summer, but it is definitely April, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome once again to our show. Our show tonight is Let's Get Newsy. And I know if you watch the news, if you have a television, if you have a radio, there is so much in the news, ladies and gentlemen, and we are grateful that you are spending the evening with us. Before we get started, I have like just this little rant because our show being Let's Get Newsy, and I need you all to help me get through this. Okay, I need you to help me understand really what's happening in this world right now, and help me to make it make sense. Yesterday, we have a group of Supreme Court justices trying to create a law that states that the president of the United States is above all laws because the two-time impeached ex-president of the United States, who is now facing 91 felony charges and 4 separate cases, be allowed to do so because, in my opinion, he is not a person of color. I mean, that is so hard for me to grasp and understand. But then, as I tried to put that to rest, I realized that, I know TikTok is an issue, but we have a group of elected officials that are taking up a TikTok as a bipartisan issue and not focusing on, the things that are really important, like banning assault weapons, coming together about college affordability, legalizing abortion rights, or putting a ban on white supremacy. Help me, people, understand what is going on in our world. All right. This is why we do Let's Get Newsy, because we want to hear how you feel about things, because if it's affecting me or Vosh or Bobby, it has to be affecting you. But again, welcome to our show. As I said, it's the end of April, and we have told you over and over again this month what's going on. And we have Jazz Appreciation Month this month. We have Autism Awareness Month this month. We have Stress Awareness this month. As you can see, I'm feeling some of it. And we've had National Poetry Month this month. And we have had such a good time, with National Poetry Month. You heard a poem by Vosh, you heard a poem by Bobby, and you heard a poem by I this week. And last week, I didn't ask for any of our viewers if they could decide who was the most senior or the less senior of the three of us, and shot us an email, we would invite them to come on to present the last poem of the month. And again, tell us who they think is the most, the less senior of the group. So we have a special guest tonight for you, and I cannot wait to bring them on. Fantastic guy. And last but not least, before I get the guys in here, I want you all to know the cicadas are coming. All right? The cicadas are coming, baby. And I thought the cicadas are supposed to come every 13 or 17 years, because if I recall, I was riding my bike in 2020 and cicadas were slapping me all up in the face. Well, they are supposed to come back, and they are coming back with a vengeance. So they said around the end of May or sometime in May through June. So I might have a cicada fall on my birthday cake, but trust and believe they are coming. And I'm just, again, you heard it first on He Said, prepare yourself. So in the whole gist of preparing yourself, ladies and gentlemen, please prepare yourself for two of my most favorite guys in the world. Let's get on with the chat.
Hey guys.
Hey, how y'all doing?
Hey everybody. Hey, we've got I'm seeing that Donna Harris is on there. Donna and I were cheerleaders together at Howard. She is tuning in from Galveston. first time, I think. She's tuning in.
Hey, Donna. Hey, how you doing? I think I remember, Donna, when you were at Howard, Bobby. I don't think we met, but the name sounds so familiar. Hey, Donna, thank you for joining us tonight. Oh, Donna, was he a good cheerleader?
Keep it moving.
Ready? Okay.
My name is
okay,
Bobby.
now. Yes. You know, this is a special week. I'm going to get right into what we've got to do. Jeez, I can never slip up with these two.
What is going on?
What is going on? This is
Look, I need the smiles. Thank you so much for that. That was good. That was good.
Well, this is a very special week. It's a very unique time that comes around every now and then. This is a week of palindromes. And if you're not familiar with palindromes it's something that goes the same forward and backwards. And if you look at the dates for this week, every day is a palindrome. So look at this image that we have up on the screen here, 420 this way, 420 that way, the whole week. It's one of these really, really, really rare occurrences. And palindromes also can be words as well. It's things like kayak, radar, civic, madam, solos, sexes. These are all words that if you spell them to the right or to the left, they're spelled the same way. So it's a really kind of like interesting, as we were talking about the cicadas, kind of like this, something that happens every now and then. This week of palindromes is also really special.
Bobby, I didn't know what the word was until I read it. So thank you, first of all, for giving me a new word. I didn't know that there was such a thing called palindrome. I thought that was something you use with Star Wars or something like that. That's what it sounds like, one of those kind of things. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know that.
But if you look at the word, like say, for instance, radar, radar, spell it that way or that way. It's the exact same.
So I could be sitting with a group of people and they say something in the conversation, like words like a kayak or sexist come up. I was like, that's a palindrome.
Palindrome. They're going to be like,
They'd be like, get out of here. Get out of here.
You've been hanging around that Bobby Edwards album. What's wrong with
that educator? You know a lot of teachers. But no, I honestly didn't know that. Hey, Monica, how you doing? Thanks for joining the show.
Everybody.
So there's also that sentence, a man, a plan, Panama Canal. Is that what it is? There's a sentence that's a
that actually, if you say it backwards, it's the same. No, I didn't know there was a sentence.
A man, a plan, Panama Canal. No, a man, a plan, canal, Panama.
Okay.
I knew if anybody had something to add extra,
it
would be you.
Yes, a man, a plan, a canal, Panama. That's a palindrome.
Okay, I'm gonna check it out later. But thank you, Vosh, for that.
That's
riveting piece of information. Well, it ties in completely with the power and significance and importance of celebrating education. Because I don't know if you've heard, but Morehouse College has a very, very special and somewhat controversial guest as their commencement speaker this year. President Joe Biden has actually been selected to be the commencement speaker at graduation this year. And the school and the faculty found out through an email that was sent by Kendrick Brown, who's the provost there at the school. And once the information was sent out, he started receiving some information back where people were starting to express some concerns. And they're actually going to be holding a meeting with the faculty on the 25th to actually discuss what was going on and why they think that this could be a bit controversial. There's some people, including some of the students, who really see it as a campaign kind of like stop for him. And they're wondering whether or not their special moment, their time is going to be kind of usurped by the whole notion of him being there and trying to build on what people have designated as a deficit for him in terms of the Black vote. And they're feeling that is he capitalizing on their commencement as far as this is concerned. What do you guys think?
I think all there, yeah, he is, and I don't see the point. I mean, he is the highest ranking official in the world,
right?
For graduation, you know what I'm saying? So, I understand people have their opinions and stuff like that, but I don't see the problem. And yes, it is a campaign season, and he does need the black vote. Where do you go to hopefully get the black vote? A historically black college.
It's certainly a perfect audience for him, but it also comes at a time where there's some controversy going on in terms of the whole situation over in Gaza and U.S. dollars funding Israel, and the current state of college campuses across the country right now around that particular situation as well. So there are people who are feeling that he also brings the potential for protests and things of that nature. Bosh, you were going to say something?
Yeah, I mean, the time to get the black vote is all the time, not just in campaign season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and in terms of, people thinking that there's going to be protests and all that, there are already universities where graduations are not happening, because of this situation, and which that's another whole story and topic.
Right.
But people who have spent 4 years, in school to get to have that moment, not to mention that people are sending their kids to school and they're not safe. I understand people have things to say, but I think Joe Biden speaking at a university, historically black college, Morehouse, I just don't see the problem. I'm just going to say that. I don't see the problem.
Well, in most situations, anytime you have a sitting president who is a commencement speaker, it is generally, with the exception of the most recent previous president, it is generally an honor to have a sitting president serve as your commencement speaker. So.
Yeah. So thank you. I mean, thanks for bringing that conversation up, because
absolutely. Time will tell. And I should point out also, Spelman College, right across the street, has just announced also that Angela Bassett is going to be their commencement speaker.
And everybody, they're like, get her in here forever. I mean, you know what I'm saying? And I get it.
Joe Biden and Tina Turner. You got them both.
Right? Well, it's amazing that they didn't put Kamala at Spelman with him at Morehouse.
Now, that would have been a very interesting one, given exactly the president and the vice president. That's really interesting, Bosh. I didn't think about that.
And didn't she go to Spelman?
No, she went to Howard.
She went to
Howard.
Hi,
Rodney. Hi, Aurora. She went to Howard.
I'm sorry, Rod. I'm sorry, Bosh. What did you just ask? Did she go where?
I thought she went to Spelman, but if she went to Howard, okay. I know that she pledged AKA. I mean, that's the important thing. Anyway, let's move on, because the Biden-Harris administration is still doing what they can do to raise their popularity. They just announced the final rule to protect consumers from surprise online or airline junk fees. Now, this new rule requires airlines and ticket agents to tell consumers upfront what fees they charge for first and second checked bags, carry-on luggage, and or canceling and changing reservations. So this is going to help consumers avoid unneeded and unexpected fees that can quickly add up and change what was a cheap ticket into a very expensive ticket. U.S. Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg said, airlines should compete with one another to secure passengers' business, not to see who can charge the most in surprise fees. Now, these new rules will save passengers almost $500 million, almost $500 million.
Wow.
In unnecessary fees by holding airlines accountable and transparent with customers. In addition, the rule says that anytime an airline passenger is entitled to a refund for canceled flights or significantly changed or delayed flights, extra services not provided, such as Wi-Fi, seat selections, or in-flight entertainment, those refunds are to be automatic, without passengers having to fill out any forms or jump through any hoops. They are supposed to now be prompt within 7 days or 20 calendar days, depending on the payment, and they must be sent in cash or original form of payment. Wow. So before taking your next flight, we highly recommend you visit flightrights.gov. That's flightrights.gov to get the most accurate and up-to-the-minute consumer protection information.
Flight rights.
That is flight rights. I don't know if our producers can pull up a that link. If there's a link, if we could show that. because that's really cool. I mean, especially first of all, I think there was a stipulation that I really honed in on. If your flight gets canceled, this is domestic. If your flight gets canceled or you are delayed for at least
I think
4 hours. Is it 4 hours? 4
it's like
hours.
2 to 4, depending
2 to
on
4.
that. There's a sliding scale between how much you get back.
Right.
Oh,
You
wow.
have the option to be reimbursed. You know, and now overseas flights, international flights, is 12 hours. It was a huge gap, which, you know, it was a huge gap if you're flying overseas and your flight gets delayed. It was a huge gap. So go to that site. I'm sure they can, you know, explain to you all, because I didn't read. Thank you for sharing that, Vosh. I just heard, I kept hearing it, and I was just picking out little things that I thought would apply to me with all the travel I got going on this year. So
I think it's going to be a hot mess.
I
do.
And it's not fair, because sometimes airlines are canceling flights because of weather, which is out of their control.
But Vosh, it'd be interesting to see, excuse me, what the fine print says around it, because of the very reason that you've just raised. Is the refund based upon things that they can control? Because as you said, the weather is not one of them. So
right.
More should be revealed.
More shall be revealed. Well, you know, hold on. Let me say hello to Antoine. Thank you for joining us. Dwayne Pureheart, thank you for being here, joining us tonight. We really appreciate you guys for joining us. Well, I want to mention something that's happening right now in DC, or actually in Maryland. We have what we call the National Harbor here. And the National Harbor is like this casinos are there, and big hotels and all of that. And it's really a huge tourist attraction. Well, effective today, a curfew went into place that says that any child under 18 years old that's not accompanied by a parent, the parent will have to pay, will be fined. And the fines range from $50 the first time to $100 the second time, and $250 the third time, and could go higher. And the reason why all this is happening, because last week kids always go there, but you know, they're just getting so unruly. And there was a brawl of about 800 kids and there's videos of it and stuff like that. And the kids were going into stores and fighting and being disrespectful to people. Now, and let me also say, there has always been a curfew in Prince George's County. It goes back many, many years, but it has never been enforced to this degree. And my question for you guys, which is near and dear to my heart, should parents be responsible for their children, and is finding parents a good or bad thing to do?
The answer to your first question for me is absolutely. You should know where your kids are, and your kids should not go where you tell them not to go. So if that's the law, they should not go. My question is, how are they going to enforce it? Because that means that children have to carry identification.
Which they should.
Well, and I just wouldn't be carrying it.
Well, but okay, well, you know what? Then they're going to have to go to jail if they can't prove.
Well, then
you
there
know,
you go. Okay.
Then they will have to go to jail and find out. But I'm sorry, Bob, you're going to say
jail
something?
and find out. That's hilarious.
I was just going to agree with both of you. I think if parents are not going to be responsible for the kids, then who will be? So, and if you pointed, as the image pointed out, we're talking 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. in the morning. So it's a time when, I mean, at a certain age, look at the time that we're talking about.
No,
they should be asleep.
If you're under 18, should you be out in those hours without your parent?
The street light's on.
Well, let me. Exactly. I need to say
you're
something.
Helping our guests figure out who's the oldest person.
That image, I mean, that picture of the time, Bobby, that was someplace else. The time for
okay.
Prince George's County, it starts at 5 p.m. until 6:30 the next morning.
Oh, I didn't realize it was that early. I thought it was 10 p.m.
It started at 5 o'clock today. Yes.
5 p.m.
Yes. 5
So you
p.m.
can't be, if you're under 18, you cannot be out in PG County without your parent.
Without your parents. So your little girlfriend and stuff, your little boyfriend you got, y'all, this little young love, go home, be home, or ask your parent to come with you. You know what I'm saying?
I didn't realize it was that early. But
it just started at 5 o'clock.
They're responding to, as you said, if anybody saw the video of all those kids brawling the way that they were, I mean, it's a safety issue for people who have nothing to do with it.
Right. And well, let me see. Dwayne Pureheart has something to say. He said, since they can't control their kids, parents have to pay for their wrongdoing. Agreed. Yeah. All parents knew where we were at all times. Come on. Well, I can't quite say that,
90%.
But they trusted that I was in a place where it wasn't going to be any confusion. You know what I'm saying? You know,
I mean, out that he's over 18 and in the house by 10 o'clock.
You know, yeah, it's like exactly. But you know, one of the other things that I thought that came out of this that I heard on the news, because it's that area has a lot of hotels, MGM Grand and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Parents are paying for their kids to be there in a hotel unsupervised over the weekend.
What?
Yeah.
No.
They did their checks to find that out. Kids were what do you call it, registered or in hotels by their parents.
And their parents not there. So they're just they're running amok, as they say.
Running amok.
All the more reason that the parents should be held responsible for any actions that those kids do.
I agree.
It's long overdue. I hope it may need to be cookie cutter, because you guys have seen videos of the kids here in Philadelphia going crazy, you know, on South Street and taking over Wawas, etc. I mean, as the weather's getting better, chances are those things are going to happen again. So I hope it does well by them.
And parenting for many people has really changed significantly from the days of my growing up, because I'm telling you, I would have told them, take me to jail as opposed to take me home to those two, because by the time I get home, it is not going to be pretty. Y'all be coming to get me a little later anyway.
Or they're having killed you.
Stretcher or something.
I mean, in the 50s, people were beating their kids with frying pans.
Oh my God!
You remember that?
No, I was saying for Bobby. I remember.
Did Bob was like, do you remember that?
No, I read that. I read that. Look, bring it back. But speaking of bringing something back, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. As I told you when I opened the show last week, we did an ask, and we said we wanted our viewers, anyone, to send in an email and say who they thought was the most senior or the less senior of the three of us. And in return, we would invite you to the show so that you could say your poem, the last poem of April, for National Poetry Month. And we had someone who called in, and we were so happy that they're here. So I'm going to give it to Bobby. Bobby, you can take it away.
Thank you, Alvin. It just so happens that the first person to respond to our request was a very good friend of mine, and like a little brother of mine, actually. His name is Gregory Booth. Gregory is a great young man who is one of his greatest skills. I mean, he's got a lot of qualities that endear him to my heart. But he is a former chef also who owned his own business. He's just a really, really great guy. And most importantly, he is a faithful listener and faithful watcher of He Said, He Said, He Said. Right. And so when he reached out, and then I shared with the fellas here on the show that one of my friends had reached out with a guess about who was the oldest and the youngest of the three of us. And Alvin was like, let's get him on the show. And so I said, let me reach out to him. And so I did. And he was happy to join us. He's here with us this evening, and he's going to be able to offer first his guess and then his poem. So without further ado, it is my pleasure, my honor to introduce to the He Said, He Said, He Said audience, my friend, my brother, Gregory Booth.
Welcome.
Hey, Gregory.
Hey, guys.
Look at Gregory. Yes.
First of all, thank you guys so much for the invitation. Alvin, it's great to meet you finally. Vash, great to meet you. Bobby, great to meet you. Great to see you,
We'll deal with that later.
So well, the stage is yours, Gregory. Oh, I'm sorry, Bobby. You go ahead because I usually no. I like when my elders. I just be quiet with my elders. My mother taught me to be quiet while my elders are speaking. So
you are not going to mislead him by just saying that.
That was not a mislead, Gregory. Take it away.
This last conversation had me in tears, and now I don't. What I submitted to Bobby originally of who I thought was the eldest and the youngest. Now I don't know. I'm just all over the place. So
well, you have to guess now that you're on the show.
Now I'm gonna guess. This is my guess based off of watching you all for so long, and then this last conversation. I would say that the oldest, and please forgive me, this
most season, please.
Most season
is. I'm gonna say Vash.
It is Vosh, and it's
Vosh. I'm so sorry.
That's okay. That's okay. I'm just.
And then I would say Bobby, and then Alvin.
What is your address? What is your address?
He's a lying dog.
What is your address? Okay, I will fly there and bring you flowers. I will. I knew if I wore this bear shirt that it would throw him off, right? No, I'm gonna, Gregory. If would you do the honors, Bobby, or should I do the honors?
Oh, please go right ahead.
I am the most senior, and this is different. I'm gonna say Bobby is the second, and then it's Vosh.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the baby. Don't
go. But still, you can come back on the show anytime because we do a series called Aging While Black, and we really want you on here. Okay.
And you all look great. You all look amazing.
Thank you so much.
You maintained our friendship by putting me right in the middle, so you were right where you were supposed to be.
I knew what I was doing.
I'm suing. As soon as the Supreme Court's done with Trump, I'm going in.
Vosh is like, I will see you in court.
Yes.
Get him. Well, thank you for playing our little game with us. That was really off the cuff last week, and you answered the ask, and so we appreciate it. So we're going to turn it over to you, and you can tell us why you chose this poem, and stage is yours.
Sure. Well, thank you guys. So I chose the poem On Aging by Maya Angelou. I thought that it was kind of fitting, appropriate for this conversation. Also, I take care of my aging parents, so I do a lot of work for them. So it kind of touches or resonates in a part of me because I'm also getting older, and I notice that I can't do the things that I used to be able to do, as easily. And then taking care of them and watching, them deteriorate physically. So I thought this was kind of appropriate for the time. So On Aging by Maya Angelou. When you see me sitting quietly like a sack left on the shelf, don't think I need your chattering. I'm listening to myself. Hold, stop. Don't pity me. Hold, stop your sympathy. Understanding if you got it, otherwise I'll do without it. When my bones are stiff and aching and my feet won't climb the stair, I will only ask one favor. Don't bring me no rocking chair. When you see me walking, stumbling, don't study and get it wrong, because tired don't mean lazy, and every goodbye ain't gone. I'm the same person I was back then. A little less hair, a little less chin, a lot less lungs, and much less wind. But ain't I lucky I can still breathe in.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is what this show is all about.
Come on now.
All right, Gregory, thank you, my brother. Thank you in so many ways. You have no idea how appreciative I am that you've joined the show. Damn, I got choked up. I'm sorry, hold on a second.
Yeah, and Gregory, I am really sad that your eyes are the first thing to leave you. Blindness is sinking in. And
Okay.
I'm so sad for you.
You know what? It was the beard for me. You had me with the beard. You had me with the beard. I thought that was such a sexy look for you. And you were giving me 41 years old, and then you cut it. And I was just,
go back to sexy.
That's all he heard. That's all he needed to hear. I'm telling you.
I even told Bobby, I said, he looks really good with that beard.
He did. And I was like, please.
Got him my number.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our new episode, Meet a Date.
Because trust me, after you said sexy, anything else that Vaj heard was like wah 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 wah.
Gregory, thank you for joining us. Please don't go away. We want to bring you back for our closing if you can, and if you can't, we understand. But this means a lot, and so now you're part of our family. So thank you for joining us tonight. Thank you
guys for the opportunity.
Thank you.
Thanks,
and
Bobby.
the support. I appreciate it. Oh, and Bobby can get your address because you're getting a he said cup.
I can't tell you. Every time I see you guys take a sip, I keep saying, I wish they had that on Amazon because I would get one. So thank you.
It's coming your way.
It's coming
Thank
your
you.
way. So thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate it, Gregory. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
And let this be a lesson to our other listeners and viewers out there. You too can win a contest and get on this show.
It was so easy. We make it so easy. We have look, our folks, they're on it. Okay. All you got to do is say you will, and we will make it happen. So thank you so much. Thank you. So all right, again, welcome to our Let's Get Newsy. Bobby, I know we got some top stories, and Bosh, we got some top stories that we have to pick and choose what we decided to talk about, but they are top stories. So
they are some top stories, and it's been really heavy of late with a lot of political stuff, but there's a lot of stuff that I think we really do have to be aware of because it's really impacting the future of our country in some really profound ways. And so our first story is this whole fake elector indictment that's going on. So an Arizona grand jury, has handed up felony charges against someone that we are familiar with, Rudy Giuliani, Mark Meadows, and other prominent Trump allies for allegedly attempting to prevent the lawful transfer of power from then President Trump to Joe Biden. 7 Trump aides were charged alongside 11 pro-Trump Arizona Republicans who signed documents purporting to be the state's valid electors in 2020. The former president himself is not charged, but devising a scheme to raise false claims of election fraud to pressure Arizona election officials to overturn Biden's narrow victory in that state. This is just one of multiple cases that are tied to this whole notion of election fraud, tampering with the election. And then I actually even heard the other day pertaining to another case, but one of Trump's lawyers actually say there's nothing wrong with influence an election. It's called democracy.
I heard that.
Did you hear that? I heard that quote.
I heard that someone said, I heard the person say it and wasn't really looking at the news, but I heard that being reported.
So it's really ironic that for someone who is constantly talking about, you can't trust the system. If I lose, it's fraudulent. People are doing this, getting the Postmaster General to move boxes, mailboxes so people can't vote, making it illegal in the state to offer people water when it's all of these things that are being done. And then this great irony that he indeed is one of the people, he's always accusing others of fraudulent efforts, but he's very much a part of a systemic effort to really influence, and not just influence, but actually steal an election.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and part of the case that's being heard by the Supreme Court now about whether or not a president is, immune from being, prosecuted for
Absolutely
is directly tied to these cases,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely.
This is what they're trying to do. Like, he's immune. He doesn't, you can't prosecute. They're trying to get this case ahead of this case. So Look,
It's
frightening.
it goes back to, first of all, voting for the presidency isn't the only thing that you need to vote for.
Absolutely.
You need to vote and put people in your state. Make sure that you vote at a state level, and I mean go hard. Go hard. I'm not going to tell you go home. Go hard. You gotta go hard and be aggressive about that. The other thing, this keeps coming. Where's the Black Lives Matter people, and how do they factor into some of these discussions that we're having? I don't hear anything about the Black Lives Matter people and what they're doing, and if they're doing something behind the scenes. I'd like to know what they are, because I don't see them in these discussions. I don't. Am I asking for too much, or I'm the only one who's? Well, a lot of these things that are happening are targeted toward the African American community, to Black people. It's a way of suppressing who we are, and and so Black Lives Matter.
I think there are a variety of organizations that are doing things, and some of them are more politically based than that of most. And keeping in mind that Black Lives Matter is a movement and one of various chapters. So there is it does not serve, in my mind, the political gravitas, if you will, that some of the other, say for instance, the Black Caucus. So like one might ask themselves, what is happening in terms of Black politicians, people who are literally sitting at the table where decisions and discussions are being made. They can get support, I believe, from organizations like Black Lives Matter, but they are not positioned to actually have the overall impact, other than galvanizing people to protest and make their voices heard through that approach.
That medium. Well, Maurice just said that he has an issue with them. I'm thinking he meaning Black Lives Matter, after they were telling people not to vote during the last election. Ha.
Not a good move.
So I'll take it back. I don't know where they are, but if they're doing that, they can stay wherever they are, because they don't need to be doing that. Thank you for that, Maurice. How you doing, Sean?
Their presence is so polarizing, because they were, like as Bobby was saying, for such a specific cause during all of the police violence, etc. So to bring themselves back into the picture might be more of a distraction. Hopefully they're finding themselves being integrated into other groups.
That's a good POV for me. Okay.
And also just really thinking strategically about how to be effective in this day and age. I think that they were very effective in the wake of George Floyd, around galvanizing energy, raising awareness, all of those things. But any organization has also got to think strategically about what now. What is the most effective approach as we move forward in this day and given this climate?
Right. Because, as we were saying with the Black Lives Matter movement, that right now we're saying Black Lives Matter. We're not saying that other lives don't matter. Correct. There will be a time when that is the case. And we kind of have moved into that space, if that makes sense.
What other lives matter?
With the world, right? Like Black lives still matter.
Absolutely.
But right now there's another house on fire. So we got to get better with our marketing in terms of how we're naming our movements and naming crises on the planet so that they have longevity.
I agree. I totally agree. Raw Health had a question for Bobby before we move on. He said, Bobby, do you believe Black Lives Matter should be vocal about what's going on with the youth?
Thank you for that question. I certainly think that there is a place for this movement, particularly working with young people, because I do. And that, in some ways, some of the concern that I have based upon the point that Alvin raised earlier, that there were some chapters, I'm not saying that the entire movement, but there were some chapters who were really encouraging young people, as an active protest, to just disengage from the voting process altogether. And that is not a healthy advice from my perspective, because I believe any time that you give up the act of the most sacred act of a democracy, that's problematic. Because there are people, as someone once said, if your vote was not that important, they would not be working so hard to take it from you.
Come on now. Come on.
And so I think what we need to encourage of our young people is how to think strategically, as Alvin was saying, not just thinking about the national election, some of these things that are happening, that are impacting, that have an impact on a state level, it first happens there and then it spreads. And so determining who's going to sit in those judicial seats on the state level, who are going to be the representatives who go to Washington to speak on your behalf, your state representative, your congressman, all of those elections are important. County sheriff, who's going to be determining what happens to police officers when they encounter you just driving down the street?
Come on now.
All of these elections matter. And so I believe that Black Lives Matter has the capacity and the potential to be a very effective facilitator of young people becoming engaged and thinking strategically as to how to utilize and their power.
Well, as Vosh said, they need to change their marketing strategy. So more shall be revealed on that. But that was, speaking from your point to Vosh's point, that was pretty cool. Yeah.
And I'd like to keep on with Bobby's point, which is like voting locally and also making sure that you vote in each election. It takes about 3 to 4 years voting in each election to really give yourself a really good change and vote people out. Mm-hmm. And it's important because we're seeing in Arizona, their House of Representatives voted to overturn the state's 160-year-old abortion ban.
Yes.
And it sets the stage to allow abortions for up to the 15th week of pregnancy. 3 Republicans voted with all 29 Democrats to advance the legislation, and the state Senate is expected to pass the repeal measure in early May. And Democratic Governor Katie Hobbs is expected to sign it if it makes it to her desk. So fingers are crossed. And just so you guys know, the current 1864 law bars all abortion except in cases where necessary to save a pregnant woman's life, which they don't have any concern about that. So the law also carries a prison sentence for 2 to 5 years for anyone who provides an abortion. So that law really has to go, and we need a lot more freedom for women to choose what's going on with their bodies and their pregnancies.
You did say 1864.
I did say 1864.
1864. Mm-hmm.
It's old. It's old. It's an old law.
But and just so that because I was listening to you say something, and I think I might have missed something, but the Republicans were trying to pass that law or bring it back, and it was appealed. And so what is?
Well, what happened?
I thought the court put it on hold,
and they said, no, you guys can't do that. You got to keep the law that's already on the books.
Right. Okay. For now.
Right. And what they're doing is they're voting to repeal that law to then put in a different law that allows for abortions up to 15 weeks.
It is, women especially. Okay, well, everybody, but women. I mean, you got to get out here and vote at the local level because, to have these people telling you what you can and cannot do with your body is just absolutely absurd.
And we have to vote with them.
We got to vote with them.
Oh,
You're
absolutely
right.
Absolutely.
You're absolutely right.
Right.
And wait a minute.
Maurice.
Well, hey, Derwin, thanks for joining us. Maurice.
Hey, Derwin.
I think the person who wrote that law was married to a 12-year-old. Maurice.
And back then, it was not uncommon.
Don't make me come downtown.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, talking about young people and abusing, minors, the DOJ this week reached a $138.7 million settlement on just this past Tuesday to pay hundreds of victims of convicted USA gymnast Dr. Larry Nassar over allegations the FBI failed to investigate accusations of misconduct and abuse. Mm-hmm. And for those of you who don't know who Larry Nassar is, he was sentenced in 2018 to between 40 and 175 years in a federal prison on a charge of sexually assaulting gymnasts at Michigan State University and with some USA gymnasts as well. Gymnasts like Simone Biles, Allie Reisman, and some other very prominent gymnasts. And the DOJ has to pay them $138 million for the mistake that they made of not addressing or handling the crime the way they should have. Who was in the wasn't that during the Orange Rain when the deal was that during the Orange Rain? Was 2018, right?
Well, it actually goes as far back as I think 15 years or so. Like that people have been reporting issues. The actual prosecution
right
was happening during the former administration, but people have been reporting about NASA for years, and it's most recently been confirmed rather, that the Justice Department just bumbled it. Like they were not responding timely. They were disregarding people's outcries. It's anytime they're paying that kind of money, it's
culpability.
It's culpability.
And I'm glad that whoever stayed on the case, because the gymnasts, they went before Congress, to state their case. I'm glad that it came out and the DOJ fessed up, owned up, were convicted of making a mistake. And I wonder how they're going to allocate that though. Or that's $138 million. It doesn't seem like a lot for all the gymnasts.
It's going to be less because the attorneys are taking some of it.
I was going to say it doesn't seem like a lot, but justice was done, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, and just as we think that justice is moving forward, in other cases, it can feel like it's moving backwards. We've all heard about the infamous case of Harvey Weinstein and the 2020 rape conviction that was part of the landmark MeToo movement. Well, New York's highest court on Tuesday overturned Harvey Weinstein's 2020 rape conviction, finding the judge at the landmark MeToo trial prejudiced the movie mogul with egregious improper rulings, including a decision to let women testify about allegations that were not deemed pertinent to the actual legal case. It says, we conclude that the trial court erroneously admitted testimony of uncharged, alleged prior sexual acts against persons other than the complainants of the underlying crimes. And so they were feeling that, bringing in the testimony of these other ladies was not pertinent to this particular case. And in doing so, they prejudiced the jury against him because they were focusing not just on the issue at hand, but his overall behavior and his pattern of behavior. And so, unfortunately, his accusers could very well be called upon again to have to retell stories. And it's, for a lot of women, it feels like a slap in their face in terms of being able to step forward, tell their truth, tell their stories, feel that they were heard, have a conviction against this man, and then to have it kind of overturned in this way. It does not absolve him. He is still not free.
He's not free.
Clarification. He's not like he's walking free now. But this particular conviction gets overturned. He has some other convictions against him. So he is not walking around at this point. But still, for those women who found the strength and courage to speak their truth and come forward, to have this verdict overturned is disappointing at very best.
Yeah. It's like you want justice to be served and you want the court system to work in your favor, but then there are times when you look at it and you're like, that's not really working for us.
It's so much in the news, I'm telling you, that makes you say, you can't make this up. What is the world coming to? That's what I kind of opened the show talking about. My frustration is so much out there. And there's good news, but there's fun news, but some of the heavy news, it just weighs on you. You know what I'm saying? But
And again, I think we have to be aware of it because we have to be informed to be able to vote and to be able to just really understand the implications. That whole notion that you can't just be aware of something that's impacting you directly because you never understand fully the implications of some of these decisions and how they could impact either you or someone that you love.
Right.
Well, and some good news.
Yes.
You guys, we were right. So the winner of RuPaul's Drag Race season 16 has been announced.
Look at RuPaul right there.
The one that we predicted in our show on April 18th. it's Nymphia Wind. So here's what I mean. It's thrilling to just, to pick. We should have put some money in Vegas. So here's what happened at the finale. Top contenders Nymphia Wind, Plain Jane, and Sapphira Cristál sashayed and showed us their final runway looks, and I have opinions. And after a fierce single performances, it was Nymphia Wind and Sapphira who would go on and battle for the crown and the $200,000 prize. And there was also a twist, y'all. The runner-up would receive a cash prize of $25,000. They gave out more money in this season than I think they gave away in like 6 seasons prior. Anyway, the final lip sync contained peel after peel. And after it was over, and a true testament to her charisma, uniqueness, nerve, and talent, Nymphia Wind was crowned the winner, baby. She now starts a year-long reign, which will include touring, brand ambassador engagements, and more. So, what do you guys think?
Well, I am a RuPaul brand connoisseur. Okay, and I'm going to keep it quick. I'm going to say, first of all, congratulations to Nymphia Wind. She came through, but I'm also going to say Sapphira to this date is the most decorated contestant on any RuPaul season ever, with the most wins and the most consistency. She had the most wins. I think that RuPaul picked Nymphia, knowing all that I know about Sapphira and watching the show, because RuPaul is a branding goddess, and Nymphia is, she has a little bit more longevity, I think, than Sapphira. Not taking anything away from her talent, but I knew that RuPaul may pick her. And then you all may not think so, but if they take TikTok away, who are owned by the Asians, I think that RuPaul, and I've said this to Bobby and Vosh, RuPaul will sit back and say, "Wait a minute, I just crowned the first East Asian contestant. I'm gonna open my own TikTok."
That's hilarious.
RuPaul will do that.
He did say that to us. He did.
He did. Well, look, I'm going to say that I knew Nymphia was going to win during the design challenge when she came out with that tie thing. And it wasn't the ties. It was the shape, the fit, the color, and the fabric on the skirt that she wore with that outfit. I was like, that, she does designs and makes all of her costumes. I'm like, that is someone that is going. The way you
described that, we should have had an image of that.
I wish we didn't. And for all of you who are watching these 3 beautiful seasoned Black gay men up here talking about RuPaul's Drag Race, trust me. I even got a RuPaul dog. Okay, I love me some RuPaul, and it's no joke. And some of my friends on here, we have RuPaul after show parties and stuff. But congratulations, RuPaul is truly a brand. Season 16, RuPaul is one of the most highly awarded. Highly awarded. There's a name for the type of shows that reality competition shows ever. And to be Black, kudos to you, RuPaul.
And a drag queen.
And a drag queen. Okay, how about that? Drag queens are good. Well, we also know that it is prom season, and we thought we would take, before we leave the show tonight, we have 10 prom pictures that we wanted to just go through and show you all as some of the gowns and some of the outfits that are now going to be gracing some proms. And think back when you were kids. First of all, how's she gonna dance in this? She looked good though.
She's not worried about dancing.
She looked good, but some of these gowns leave a lot to be questioned. So can we go?
You can't even walk to the buffet table
without somebody stepping all over your gown. I'm telling you.
What is the gown gonna look like when you're walking through the thing? You know what I'm saying? And it's a common trend with these new gowns that are coming out. We can go to the next one. Gorgeous.
Yeah.
Where the family get money from to pay for these gowns?
I just don't know how you get in the vehicle. How do you get to the prom in that?
First of all, you choreograph it. You got to wrap it up. The dress goes in before you do, and then you get in. And then when you come out, it just,
that's a lot.
Bam. Hey,
You tell them, Vosh, when you went, that's how you did it.
Yes, in that dress.
That dress. Now, again, there's a common theme here with they call them fishtail or fantail gowns. They're not trains anymore. And so I'm looking at this like common theme, ladies and gentlemen. And there are some out there that are a little bit more risque than this, but I just thought these young girls are, they are
slaying. That dress is a slay. Whoever is wearing it, I just think I could stare at it all day. Mm-hmm.
That was nice. Yes.
Okay, I'm just gonna be old here.
Go ahead.
I just feel like some of them just look a little older than I'd want my high school daughter to look.
Like this one.
I mean, but when you so when we talk about and we do like the SAG Awards and the Met Gala, and people are wearing see-through things.
Yeah.
If that's the trend, then at least they're clothed.
Yeah. I'm just saying, who's not going to step on this? You know what I'm saying? Where are you going?
And trust me, she's going to get sick of picking that up all night because she can't walk straight.
Oh, right. That word. Mm-hmm.
And then people who don't like her are going to be stepping on it.
Now, I kind of like this one because it was a different twist.
It's practical.
It's practical. I will say that. She can take that little skirt off and have fun the rest of the evening.
Exactly. And she can actually dance at her prom.
Yeah.
Right.
Slave.
Yeah, with her boyfriend.
Yeah.
The Mummers Parade has come early, ladies and gentlemen, and the children are marching.
I just put this up here for comic relief for y'all because I knew if anybody could have something to do with it, it would be y'all.
I feel like I'm at the Rose Bowl parade.
But here is the solution to people stepping on your train. You just make it a wrap.
you just surround yourself with it. Oh my Lord.
It was something. Well, thank you all for indulging us in that. We really appreciate it. Thank you. Look, next week is going to be a doozy. Next week is May, and we are in honor of Mother's Day. We wanted to have, someone on the show that we thought we could introduce to you all. And next week, we will have author Renee R. White, who's the author of Creeping to Preaching. And Renee will share her profound story of living in the midst of abuse, bullying, and sexual struggle until an altar call beckoned her back home to God's grace. When I tell y'all are not ready, okay? You all are not ready for Madam Renee to come on this show, but we definitely will have her here next week, and we cannot wait to have her. Can we have Gregory to come back on before we do our final words of the week? Well, there he is. Thank you again, Gregory.
Thank you, guys. I truly enjoyed the show. I enjoyed being a part of it. Thank you so much. And thank you for the mug. I really am going to use that every day. I'm a coffee man, so.
They know I'm good for shipping, so it is coming. As soon as I get your information, it will definitely be on the way. But thank you again for coming. We really appreciate you being here tonight. So, ladies and gentlemen, again, we're going to see you all next week. And our words of the week this week. The biggest mistake we make in life is thinking we have time. Be present, be kind, love more, and love now, ladies and gentlemen. Those are our words of the week, and we thank you all for joining us. Thank you, Donna, Aral, Maurice, Rodney, Sean, Michi, all of you. Thank you all for joining us tonight, and we look forward to seeing you on the next episode of He Said.
He said.
He said.
And he said tonight too. And have a great weekend, everybody. Take care, be safe, and vote. Okay. Good night.